gentlemen, bienvenidos. Did I say that correctly? I feel like I didn't say that correctly. I did a good job, right? I'm pretty good. I think Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3. Episode 3, today is what? September the 23rd. I'm here right now with the one and only Mr. himself, Mr. Urban Pilon. Talk to him, man. How are you feeling today, first off?
I feel good.
I feel bad. I got you here on a Bears game day.
I had a long weekend, but it's a Monday, but I'm happy to be here, though.
Man, I'm glad you're here, man. You know what? It's interesting because you and I have a lot of mutual friends.
Yes.
A lot of mutual friends. So anytime I heard your name, that's how I know you're real Puerto Rican, because you pull out the sleeve when you drink. The sleeve comes out when you drink. By the way, this is apple juice. Everybody, let's see out there.
Apple juice.
So we have a lot of mutual friends, right? So where did that name come from, Urban Pilon?
Urban Pilon.
Yeah.
Man, let's see, about 2012, I was just, we were starting off this concept about like making food and weren't necessarily so happy with some of the stuff we were finding in the city.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of wanted to develop our own concept. I did it with a friend of mine, Angel Fuentes, and man, that's the name that we came up with. Since then, I've collected maybe about 45 different pilons.
Oh wait, so you're collecting pilons right now?
Yeah, no, I have a lot of pilons.
So do you like collect them? Do you collect them outside of the? Do you collect them like outside of the country, or is it like where you find them, you like it, you get it, you get it?
Yeah, so people have brought them from different places of the world, from Mozambique, from Zimbabwe, from Ghana, from from all parts of Puerto Rico, from the DR, from Haiti. I mean, I have them from Trinidad, from Veracruz, from India, from Pakistan. I have 45 of them. So
45 of them.
Yeah. This one right here is my bisabuelas. That's my great-grandmother.
The great-grandmothers.
Yeah.
Damn. You know what? It's funny because when you think great-grandmother, you think of the big ollas, the big pots and cooking for a whole bunch of people. And I see something like this, and I see like you can make like.
No, but they were poor, so they only had
had enough for like two of y'all. No, that's y'all ain't eating.
Yeah, that was poquito lo que comí.
Just for everybody who's watching right now, unfortunately, for those of you guys who are listening. For those of you guys who are watching live, you guys can go ahead and comment on the podcast at Lyon and the Truth podcast, and we'll try to get to all of your questions or comments. I'm here right now with Urban Pilon. So I was asking you earlier. I was online. I was calling you Chef Roberto. But what is the full name? Because I know us Puerto Ricans have that long ass last names. What's the full name? And are you ever? It's gonna ever be Chef? Like just 42 names?
No, man. It's something that has come to be just recently, where students start calling me Chef. But I've never really have pushed, and neither have I said that I am a chef. Usually I do not push that because I want to pay respect. I want to be respectful to those people that go to culinary school.
Yeah.
I am self-taught, and and so if people, but this is something that's catching on. I want to give myself some credit too. I have definitely, I work hard. I work every day. I'm working.
I see you hustling, boy. You hustling like you got like 42 jobs, man. Like you a brand.
But I work hard. I mean, every day I'm learning something, and I won't stop. That's part of my journey.
I love that. I love that. Urban.
I'm that kind of Leo.
You're that kind of Leo.
I do that, man. I'm focused.
Actually, speaking of which, you're a Leo.
I'm a Leo, man.
You're a Leo? Oh, so August 5th.
Yeah, August 15th.
August 15th. You got you're 10 days. Yeah. 10 days ahead of me, man. 10 days after me. Am I older than you? What year were you born?
Man, 74.
70? No way, bro. Brother. So, how old are you?
Yeah, man, I'm 45.
You're 45?
And after like 43.
Bro, you look great for 45.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations, man. What's the secret? Where's the Garden of Eden over here? A good toupee. Yeah, you got the Faruco going on, right? Yeah. So those of you guys who are watching, we're here. Today's topic, we're talking about food, man.
All right.
And just recently I got into this whole keto craze.
Nice.
Now I'm not into it anymore, obviously. Okay. The panza can tell you that. But I was into it for a good month, and I fell in love with cooking, man.
Yeah.
And I used to hate it, and I was very traditional in that respect when it came to food. My father always told me, if you cook, you better start getting used to cooking. You better start getting used to cooking because you're gonna cook your whole life, and you're not gonna find a woman who's gonna cook for you. Old school. That's my dad. That's not me. All right, don't send the hate mail. Send the hate mail to him, not to me. Yeah. So times have changed. Right now, gone are the days where women are behind the stove. Gone are those days. I kind of feel like everyone's kind of behind on the cooking thing. It's like it's an art that's not as I don't want to say respected, but it's not as followed or like adhered to as it used to, right? Am I wrong in that assumption?
No, man, traditionally it's always kind of been a female thing, and I mean, man, props to that work that they've always done. And now, I don't know, I feel like unfortunately the men are getting a lot of the respect and the accolades today. But man, the women have been doing this forever.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
the abuelas have been doing this forever, man, and the abuelos would never like handle anything.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but we all have to get in there, man. We all have to get in there. What we're seeing a lot of is a lot of people are getting sick. A lot of people, unfortunately, the diet that they're following or whatever is not working. And we got to learn how to cook. We got to learn how to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And yeah, and speaking of which, you have you're hosting classes.
I do classes.
Do
Yeah,
classes
I've
as
been doing
well?
it for like 4 years now.
How's that going?
They go well, man. They go well. They always sell out. It's a blessing, man. It's good.
And how does that work? That works obviously under the brand Urban Pilon.
Yeah.
And do you use it? Do you use your own kitchen? Do you use a restaurant? Do you use a school? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I used to cook out of my home. If anybody has traveled to like Cuba or Brazil, there's this thing called a paladar where they open up their home and they create the restaurant. And people come into the home and they eat like that. It's like a underground business. And I used
Yeah.
to do that on the west side of Chicago.
You did that.
Yes.
You did
I
not
did
hear
for a
that
few
here. That's
years,
this.
man.
We were not incriminating ourselves. This was past tense. This is just
Yeah,
all for show, right?
underground.
Yeah, underground.
So that went well, and it went so well that I couldn't fit that many people in my house. So then that's when I like branched out of my
Yeah.
house. So now also for the classes I use a soup kitchen. San Lucas Church is one of the places where I've had my classes for about 3 or 4 years now.
And it's going.
Yeah, it's going good.
Yeah.
Blessings, man, blessings. I see my students everywhere all the time. We're always talking. If ever they need any like recipes or they see something they like, I got them.
So tell me exactly, how did your path start? I mean, I like cooking,
Yeah.
but I can't see myself as a chef or like
Uh-huh.
teaching cooking classes. Like what snapped for you? What was that switch? I always call it a switch.
Yeah, it was.
A switch comes where eventually you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to continue to do this.
Yeah, all right, it's going to get real serious.
Let's get serious, right?
Oh, no. But let me get this one first. Anyways, about 10, 11 years ago, I got cirrhosis of the liver. And I was working out. I was doing this supplement that I was getting at export. And man, I was overdoing it. And it shut down my liver.
No way.
Yeah, it was about the same time that Walter Payton had passed away. He had died of like some liver disease.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Damn, I'm poor. I'm
No
broke.
way.
ain't got no
I
money.
remember
I'll
something.
die.
I remember something like that.
Yes.
That there was this supplement that was really like everybody was using it, but it probably wasn't the
I
same
was
one.
doing all the weights. I was Hercules, man. I was Hercules, but it was really hurting me.
Right.
And so my insides. There was a flag football game, and I was tired, man. I went in my back trunk, and I got some more of that stuff. I thought, it would get me through the game, man. And that day, I was in the hospital. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was jaundiced. I was yellow.
Wow.
I lost like 25 pounds. I was bedridden.
You were a character on The Simpsons, basically.
Yeah. So man, my recovery time, the doctors told me was gonna be about 5 months. I was miserable. I was upset. I was a hot mess. I was watching my son, who at the time was about 8 years old, and he was running around, and I couldn't. I was in the bed, down. And so I needed to get better, and food did that for me. And I was able to recover in about a month and a half, as opposed to the 5 months that the doctors told me.
Wow.
And so, I just did raw food, natural food, and that was a switch for me, man. That really taught me, like, yeah.
So export really saved your life. In a weird way.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah, export saved your life. You should be a spokesperson for that.
You almost killed me.
Yeah, you almost killed me. So now I'm alive. Oh man. So fast forward. Fast forward now. You fell in love with the culinary arts, and you're teaching classes now.
Yeah.
Why not the chef thing? Why not the school thing? Why not the restaurant thing? What is it about what you're doing now that really speaks to you?
Yeah. So man, this is important, and that is that in culinary school, you're not gonna get the stuff that you get if you're gonna get French culinary stuff, you're gonna get Italian, you may even get Mexican. You won't get Caribbean food. They won't teach you about your own self. And to me, that has always been important, man. I've grown up in public schools, man, and our history is always void.
Yeah.
And so I'm a cultural person,
Yeah.
I do a lot of this stuff around culture, and I wasn't having it. I was gonna learn my shit first before I learned somebody else's.
Right. Your best meal. The best meal that you could sit here and say, I once ate this, and it was just like, I still think about it, my mouth is watering talking about it. What is that?
That I made?
Look, you're getting excited. No, you've eaten.
Oh, that I've eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Honestly,
I can see him salivating, y'all. If you're not watching, if you're just listening, he's salivating right now. His mouth is watering.
It has to do with the place. It has to do with the ambiance.
The experience. The whole experience, right.
It has to do with being at the beach. And I remember we were just talking about Trinidad, and it was fish that was just pulled from the ocean, right? And it was fried, and then it was put in like this fresh fried bread. Kind of like what we call in Ponce dumplings or arepas if you're from the north of Puerto Rico. And they have like this buffet of all of these like garnishes, man. And to me that it's so simple, but yet it's so good.
And it was the experience.
It's so crazy.
What's the worst meal you could think you've had? We've all had many of them, right?
Yeah,
but like
a lot of them.
One of them, I guess it'll probably be an experience too, not just the food, but the experience.
So this was so upsetting that it motivated me, and part of the reason why I do what I do.
What you ate at export.
I hate going to a restaurant and getting a mofongo and it's fried and it's dry and there's nothing to soak it up with, and it's like horrible, man. It's like a brick. And I could hurt somebody with that. And like it's like this big brick in your stomach. And so like I'm like, well, I'm gonna do this. And so now I really focus on mofongo. Like I'm intentional about like making great mofongo.
Yeah. And
so I always make it like with the sauce, because that's the way I want to make it. That's the way I like it.
Right.
And so I hate a dry mofongo. I don't like it.
So your go-to, like your influence, like, or what you're standing behind, your entire brand, it's typically Caribbean, Puerto Rican cuisine. Yeah. That's what your forte is. That's what you does.
Man. That's what I does.
Yeah.
It's something that's really not focused on, I mean, like forever we were always like looking outwards to other people to like help us with like what we should do with our food, but we never really like looked inward to our own culture, to our own history, and it's so rich and it's so profound. We're not, and I think it's a mistake to just not pay attention to that.
Yeah, I like that, man. See, this is like I was thinking food, and now you're bringing me like to you're giving me this archaeological like experience and like
Man.
geographic demographic. Man, I love it. I love the connection you have with your food,
Yeah.
and it relates to some of the stuff that you do outside the kitchen, right? With
Yes.
Bomba con Bulla,
Correct.
right? It's a bomba band that you guys have, a live performing band, and you guys have
Absolutely.
been all over Chicago lately, man. Much props to you guys,
Thank
man.
you.
Talk to me about that.
Thank you. So we just had our 10-year anniversary. We just dropped our second CD. It was a concentration on Southern Bomba because again, you have to kind of work with these niches and these like things that nobody else is doing. Why do the same old thing, right? When
Right.
you could do your own thing and do something that nobody else
Right,
is doing.
right. You got some original work on there?
Yes,
Awesome.
we have some original work,
Love
but
it.
it's focused on Southern Bomba. And so now we want people to think like if you know you're thinking about the South and bomba, then think about booyah.
Love it. How long? And so it's 10 years. That's 10 years of the life, right? That's
Of booyah, but you know a lot of the members have been doing bomba for 20, 25, almost 30 years.
yeah. So these guys are, I don't want to say pioneers, but legends.
Well seasoned.
Well seasoned
Habla
legends
de
in the
comida,
game,
tú ves.
right? Yeah, because when you think of bomba, you think
Yeah.
you think the island, you think people on the island. But
Yeah.
like for example, your band, when you talk about bomba, it's in that conversation of the people that are still proliferating the sound.
I agree.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So and it's here. It's
And
here.
It's in Chicago, and I'm very proud of that. That like when you think of bomba, you may think of this small Chicago group called Booyah.
Yeah,
And I'm really proud of that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Chicago represent.
Shouts out, rep. Coming back to the food because I'm fat and I like talking about food. So I've been having some issues, man. Maybe you can help me out. My issue that I have is I'm just starting my journey in food, and I love it. I love cooking now, and I'm really getting into it.
Okay.
Every day I'm trying to cook a meat, and I'm trying to cook a side or two. And the first thing I'm thinking of is what kind of meat am I going to cook, and how am I going to season it,
Okay.
right? And I have two choices. I'm sure there's more, but in my mind, in my workbook,
Yeah.
there's two choices. There's
Okay.
one, there's a dry rub.
Okay.
And I,
of
and I
course.
and I just put a little either salt and pepper, depending on what it is,
Yeah.
or a little bit of adobo, whatever it
Right.
is, or a couple different things like some
Yeah.
cumin or whatever. Is it
Yeah.
cumin or cumin?
Cumin.
It's
good.
cumin.
Cumin's
Cumin. I'm
good.
saying completely. It's the third one. I said cumin or cumin. It's cumin.
Not cumin. That es
Not-
para otro día.
Yeah. so you have the dry rub, and
Yes.
then you have like a mojo, right? Like a marinade.
Yeah.
Mojo. Is mojo a recipe for a marinade, a specific marinade, or is mojo another word for marinade?
No. It could be. It could be a marinade. Let me see. I'm thinking of like mojo isleño, which is particular to like I believe it's Salinas, Puerto Rico, and they make like this specific sauce that's tomato based, vinegar, peppers, and man, that's the mojo de Salinas. We do that in our class, and then we also do the a dry rub. We do dry rubs in class where we do it all from scratch, and we learn about all the ingredients. We learn how to make it, mix it up, all that.
So, what's a no-fail marinade? If I need to make some chicken and I got a couple hours to let it sit
Yeah.
and soak in some stuff
Yeah.
so it can be good when I play.
Yeah.
I love how excited you get with the
Yeah.
food. You're like, yeah,
That's my shit.
yeah. So, like, what's a go-to marinade? Like, let's bless the listeners with a
Okay.
go-to marinade from Urban Pilon himself.
Dale, está bueno. So I like to I'll create like this in a bowl. You know, we could make like our own like specific adobo that we make in class. Let's say, okay, we'll put salt, we'll put pepper, we'll make sure that we put garlic. You could put fresh garlic. We could do oregano. We'll do some cumin. We'll do some turmeric, and then we'll have some olive oil. And so what that's gonna do is now this olive oil that you're gonna mix up, and you're gonna mix all those ingredients with. You're gonna cover this chicken in, and then it's gonna stick
Right.
because you got that oil on there. Now you can, you want to be generous. Don't be be this Caribbean cooking, man. You know
Right.
this over spiced
Right.
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It don't mean that it's over salty.
Right.
It just means that it's got some
It
flavor.
got some curvas.
Yeah, man.
Has some
Got
curves.
flavor, man.
Has some
Come
junk
on,
in the
man.
truck.
Don't be like that.
Yeah.
You know,
So how about the
don't
people?
slack.
How about the people who don't have the time to, like, put in 8 different recipes, and they
Okay.
pick up the generic adobo,
Alright.
with with
MSG.
there you go.
Bag.
They get some generic. All right, are they using salt? Or are they just using the adobo?
No. Don't use salt over the adobo because the adobo already has salt, which is the principal ingredient, and then MSG is about 40% salt.
Oh my
Then you're gonna put more
gosh.
salt in your food. You have already put in salt 3 times.
That's
So
insane.
that's,
You see,
that's a
that's
recipe for
more like a
hypertension.
personal
That's
question.
the recipe for hypertension.
That's more like a personal question, because I've done that a couple times.
We
and
do
it's
that.
very
It's
salty,
easy
bro.
to make that. It's easy to make that mistake. You know, but we have to like read labels, unfortunately. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
Who are your influences in the kitchen? Who are your influences?
My great grandmother, my bisabuela, she was a big influence. She was a pioneer in our family. She cooked for everybody. I only was around her until my 20s. Mi mamá de crianza, she was also an older woman from Juncos. She was very influential. I could think of a few other people. My son was definitely very influential. He had some dietary restrictions, and now he's a vegan. So he really he pushes me.
Your son is
you
a
know?
vegan, huh?
Yeah, man. He pushes
Yeah.
me to learn. And so, and I have friends that, I've lived with that maybe they're a pescatarian. So it pushes you, it's like, you just gotta learn, man. Because I try to be as inclusive as I can. So if I don't have to, I'm not gonna put gluten in the food. I'm not gonna, I'll always have something for vegetarians.
You just
try
lost
to
your
be
Puerto
as-
Rican
as
card,
much-
bro. The
as
chuletas and the meats. You mean to tell me that there's vegan options for Puerto Rican food? Is that what you're here to tell me?
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
Man.
for sure.
What's
for
happening?
sure. My mom told me, and remember we were joking about them being poor. She's like, I was vegetarian most of my life because we didn't afford no meat, man. And it's the truth that a lot of people around the world, if you really think about it, they are vegetarian, but not by choice.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah,
they can't have meat, man. It's a different way to think about it,
Let me ask you a question. When it comes to Puerto Rican food, I've had this question asked a million times to me. Puerto Rican food here in Chicago. We know that the Puerto Rican population is spreading. It's no longer as centralized as it once was to Humboldt Park, or even before that to Lincoln Park, is it? Yep. Lincoln Park and Wicker Park. Yep. And now it's been spread. It went from Humboldt Park and Ukrainian Village out to Hermosa, and then out even to the burbs. So you got some people out in Waukegan. And you got it's spreading. Where at one point the Puerto Rican population was robust here, right? And we had political power and pull. Now it's Kissimmee, But I've always been asked a million times from the Puerto Ricans that I do know, where is the good Puerto Rican food in Chicago?
These are fighting words, man.
So now you gotta ask. We gotta ask you.
Did I come here for this?
What is your go-to Puerto Rican food? And I'm talking about everything. And I just don't
not
consider, not your house.
Okay, not my house.
Don't consider the ambiance. Don't consider the service. Don't consider everything as one.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell you. I love
Guys, you're gonna hear it here first.
Yeah, man.
Lion in the Truth has the number one Puerto Rican restaurant
Ay, Dios mío.
by.
All right, so when you think about Puerto Rican food, you have to have movement because those frituras cannot sit there all day.
I love how you're breaking this down already.
If they're sitting there all day, they're collecting all that grease, and you're gonna get it, and it's gonna be stiff and dry.
Yeah.
So your restaurant has to have movement. The restaurants that have the most movement in Chicago today are probably Jibaritos y Más and Ponce on Fullerton. Not the one on North Avenue, the one on Fullerton. They're popping, they're full, there's a lot of movement there, and so you can I won't say that it's like, and I say clean but by like the ingredients that they use. When you're making food for that many people, it's really hard to go with like the best quality. You're trying to make money.
Right.
I wouldn't say that everything is so quality, but there's movement there, and in my opinion, those are the best ones. And big shout out to Casa Yari. She does more of a fusion where she does Central American and Puerto Rican. She does use quality ingredients.
Mm-hmm. I've had a
Casayari.
lot of people saying Casajari is good. I've heard things about
good.
service. I heard things about service. And you know, at one point, I really liked this place called I think it was called Coco's. I liked it. I liked it because I liked the ambiance. I liked that we finally had a good sit down place that wasn't carry out.
Yes.
That wasn't fried and sit here on these old secondhand benches and stuff. I really like Coco's for that. But now I'd probably say the same. I'd probably say it's a Ponce and Jibaritos y Más. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. Speaking of a fan of it, I love what you did here.
Yeah,
can you tell us about this? What is this exactly?
Man, this is medicine right here.
This is medicina.
It's medicina. This is from the DR. These are roots from El Campo. This is called Mama Juana. Mm-hmm. It became popular probably in about the 1950s. You'll find different variations of this around the world.
Yeah.
West Africa, Central America. But they cure it in a particular way where it's half dark rum, half sweet wine, and it's capped off with honey. So it's earthy, it's sweet, it's
and you made this batch right here.
Good. Yeah, it's I cured that
at home as a friend and not for sale, right? For the FBI watching.
I've had this for about 6 years.
You've had this one
because you replenish it.
Yeah, you replenish. Okay, so you're using all that fermentation.
It's good.
I learned that word. That's a big word. Fermentation. That's four syllables.
Big
Big word.
They say that this could last about 15 years.
That can last 15 years.
And so far, it's good. So far, I'm real happy about it.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, and I implore for everybody who's listening, it's an amazing thing. You know, you have those people that do the whole what do they call that when they do beer? What do they call it? They call that something. They call that like when they have a beer they distill.
Yes.
Right, a distillery type of deal. When they make their own beer, it's kind of like it was kind of popular for a while. I love the idea of people making their own pitorro, moonshine, their own Mama Juana, their own
pique.
Yeah, I love that because you could twist it to the way you like it.
Yep, it's exactly.
You know, and that's how a lot of people get rich too. What's one place in Chicago you will not eat?
One place?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's many, but what's the top of that list? Let's put people on blast. Come on, man.
All right, okay. I'm not a big fan of Eastern European food, so
you're playing it safe. You're playing it
so
super
Russian
safe.
Food, I won't go eat in. Am I being too safe? Nah, man, I don't want to cause any problems. Let me see. No. I can't think of one at the moment.
Come on, I know there's one in there. You're playing the nice story. You're like, I know them. I can't say it.
You know, one of the things that happens though is that you cook a lot. A lot of chefs, man, they eat what they can. They're eating cereal. They're eating sandwiches. And they may do gourmet meals at home, or in their restaurant, but man, sometimes you just in that rush. You
eat what's available.
Exactly.
So I remember when I was young, there was a couple places as a Boricua that we would eat when it was a occasion, when it was a graduation, when it was a party, when it was a wedding even, or a promotion. We went to Father and Son. Yes. We went to Leona's.
Yes.
And if it was really good, we went to Red Lobster.
Yeah, man.
And it's funny how you're saying it, how I'm saying it now, and it's like, damn, that was our childhood. Yeah. What is the place now as an adult that if you were gonna spoil it, if you were gonna treat yourself, where would you be eating?
Man, I do a lot of, I like pungent, powerful flavors, man. So I do something like some West African, Senegalese place. Maybe I'll do Yasan in, where's that at? That's on the south side. I would do maybe Garifuna flavor, which is Belizean. I would do, some flavors like that. Something that's really gonna give me that oomph. I like flavor, man.
So I take it you're not the kind of guy that when they sit down at a restaurant they're ordering the same thing.
Hell no, I don't like that. I took up this fight with in at one of my first blogs I did for a while. I did food blogging,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking crap about the jibarito sandwich.
Oh,
And that's a fight, man. Be careful, man.
fight, bro.
If you get it, people will die for the jibarito sandwich.
Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, for checking this today. Why not? That's kidding. What are you talking about, bro?
So anyways, my whole thing was that I felt that there's so much more to Puerto Rican food. There's so much more that we're doing the same. We're kind of doing the same, recreating the same, opening up restaurants under the jibarito sandwich. I don't think there's enough variety. I don't think that I remember that there was things when we were kids that was done that no longer around. Like there was cuchi frito, right? There was the people would do mondongo. Maybe you don't like that or whatever. But I'm saying is that there were things that were being done that because we're ordering the same thing all the time. I'm sure that it's X'd off of that menu, and so those, I take a fight with that. But anyways, I got to meet Pete Figueroa. He's the guy who actually kind of brought it to life in Chicago. He found it in El Vocero newspaper. The menu was called El Sandwich de Plátano, and he made it with his father. And Monica Eng from the Sun Times at the time published it, and it blew up. And then everybody else did it. And even Cuban restaurants do it. Dominican restaurants do it in Chicago. Yeah. And I just think it's over the top too much.
Yeah, I love the idea that sandwich originated here. Mm-hmm. That it originated here and nowhere else.
Okay.
Debatable, right?
It's debatable.
Well, it's been popularized here.
Yeah.
Just like salsa wasn't made here, but it was popularized here. Sure. I mean, not Chicago. I meant the States. The States.
No, I get it.
But I love how the jibarito was popularized in Chicago.
Yeah,
we kind of have something.
And he picked that name. He picked that name, and man, everybody knows it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's synonymous with goodness.
And Chicago.
Yeah. So the restaurants that are there now, right? The restaurants that that are left, if you will, right? Of that have our food, Puerto Rican food. If you had the task of grading what's available to the community, right? Everybody wants, for example, I have a lot of friends who will say, man, where's a good Puerto Rican food? And of course, you have the one or two that you go-tos. Yeah. But if you had to grade them,
damn,
overall experience, right? Because we're not just talking about how good an acapuria is or how much meat it has. Right. We're talking about the service. We're talking about the ambiance, the environment. We're talking about the music they play. We're talking about, are they looking to further the cuisine and the conversation? Are they looking to be bold and take risks? Yeah. Or are they looking just to make a quick buck?
They're not taking risks. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think they're taking risks. But also in defense to Caribbean cuisine in general and anywhere. They just have never been known for their customer service. They just never have been known for that.
¿Qué quiere? No tenemos. Va a tener que esperar como 15 minutos.
Exacto. I mean, that's the truth. And it's a painful truth. We can change that. Yeah. But it's going to take work. I'm not happy necessarily with the options that I have. And so I think that's a big reason as to why I do what I do.
Damn.
That's straight up. And then straight up, I had a hard time for many years finding a good mofongo in Chicago. And and some people will say you have to go to the island to do that. Man, and that's unfortunate, man. Mofongo is really not that hard to make if you just made it fresh. Yeah. I don't know too many people that are in the back pounding a pilon in the back. When they're actually they have it already done. They may have it even in the freezer. They pop it in the fryer and then they serve it to you. And that's garbage.
Yeah. A waste of a plátano. My mother-in-law, I love telling this story. I tell it every chance I get. My mother-in-law had the first food truck in Humboldt Park.
Nice.
It was called Tati's. So she served the mofongo. She served sancocho. She did sancocho on Sundays. She had the lines waiting outside. And I remember back in the day when they used to have Cocineros Unidos. Remember those? Yes. The Cocineros Unidos was when the the food trucks would get together and pool funds, and they'll make basically a festival in Humboldt Park, and it was like some of the best food you ever had.
Yep, we performed there a few times. Bomba.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've
Yeah,
performed there a
so,
lot of
yep,
times too.
mhm.
Yeah, I did. I used to be one of those kids in the dance groups.
Yeah,
We had the sequins on, sequin shirts
wow.
with the big old ruffles on the side. Tinky, tinky, tinky.
With the happy piano.
Yeah, right. If someone, here's my next question: if someone cooked for you, right? Let's say, are you involved with anyone at the moment?
I'm not married.
Okay. First off, bro, that was a long ass pause, bro. All right, so you're not married, but so you might be involved. Okay, whatever your case is, imagine someone you were involved with, right? Decides they want to cook for you. Are you open to the idea?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
First question.
Yeah.
Second question: if they
they
cook
have,
for
which
you,
they have.
which they have, of course, right?
Yeah.
And if they cook for you and it's terrible,
Mm.
salty as shit,
Yeah.
bland, dry,
Yeah.
burned,
Mm-hmm.
are you honest with them?
Man, I don't know if I can fake the funk. Yeah, I'm honest with them. Yeah, but I'm really grateful though. I'm grateful.
You're
I'm a
grateful but
dude.
honest.
I'm a grateful dude, so I'm gonna find the good in it. You know what I mean? Like that you got a few grains in there that were cooked.
All right, what's that conversation like? Let me hear it. How would you spit it out? How do you spit it out, bro? I want to hear it.
Oh man, this is good. This is good. You gotta like. I really like this. But what I would do different.
Oh, you see, that's where you crush their heart right there.
No, but I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for anybody that cooks for me. I really am.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Super grateful. Like to me, it's delicious when
Don't be a jerk like
yeah,
that.
somebody.
That's a jerk move, man. Somebody's cooking for you.
Do you still give family members that want you to cook for them, like
Yeah.
the quinceañeras, and they
Yeah.
want you to do like the family parties?
Hell yeah.
Man, I got 20 people.
I'm
Can you make
busy,
some
man.
rice?
I got time for that.
Do you charge them? You charge them? Depends on who it is,
Sometimes.
right?
Yeah,
It depends on who it
sometimes,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, my mother-in-law does too. She does. She charges like some people. Like it really depends on who and the
Yeah.
time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Here's actually a good question. Kicking it back to Urban Pilon. Caribbean food is notorious for being high in saturated fat and oily and greasy and fried, right? How does Urban Pilon fit into the landscape of health and culture, and specifically cultural cuisine? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think one of the issues that we have when we're in the diaspora and we're in Chicago is that unfortunately,
Diaspora, that word, bro. I've heard that word so much recently. Diaspora.
unfortunately is that we did not have the fruits and vegetables that were available to us on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are getting a lot of those fruits and vegetables and even a lot of those hard to find things that we couldn't find maybe 10, 20 years ago. For example, pana, ajices, recao, yautilla. You could go through all the list, gandules frescos. You know, all those
And for
things we couldn't.
English as a second language, what were all those things? Say that for the people out there
Um,
who don't speak Spanishese.
All the culantro or the pigeon peas or all the root vegetables, all these things that you couldn't find in Chicago before. Now you're able to find them, and so I think we can actually like cook a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff that we could cook that maybe before we couldn't, and so I'm trying to be a throwback.
Yeah.
To kind of cook a lot of the stuff away from like synthetics and because that kind of happened later, man. That happened like in the 60s where there was like a lot of canned stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of like packaged food, and so I'm trying to be a throwback and do things a lot more natural.
Okay, so and you're including that in your
All the time. I don't do any artificial nothing. I don't do any synthetic.
I know when I said adobo, your eyes lit up like you were just like your teeth grinded a little bit. When I said the fake adobo, you're like MSG.
I mean, MSG also has its man, it's got its history that and so that's a long discussion about that's another podcast. But MSG, I personally don't think that. I think people have taken up a fight with MSG, but also its roots also came from like what they called Chinese restaurant syndrome, you know, and it's actually pretty fucked up and racist, you know,
Yeah.
like how people have put. But MSG is in everything, man. MSG is in all your chips. It's in Doritos. It's in everything. But there's also natural MSG. There's MSG in Parmesan cheese. There's MSG in tomatoes. There's MSG in mushrooms. It just gives a lot of flavor.
Mm.
I think people kind of give it
Bad rap.
a bad rap, man.
Yeah.
Not
So
necessarily.
you're saying, in moderation or natural MSG per se.
Yeah, like I will take up with Sazon. I will say that Sazon has food dyes. It has like red 40. It has fake yellow. It has like all these things that also are illegal in a lot of countries.
Hmm.
And since we're putting it every day in our food, that can affect us. That could affect us. And like red 40, for example, yo, that's linked to like things like cancer, man.
Yeah.
So we should go back to the more natural things like using achote.
Yeah.
And now even like La Criolla makes ground achote, so you don't even have to do the whole oil thing or anything like that. You just put it in your pot and you get natural food coloring.
Yeah.
You don't have to put this nasty stuff in there.
Yeah. I see that.
And we have like these love affairs with these big corporations, but we don't owe them anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Especially like when you have it seems like a lot of what you do and a lot of what you stand behind has almost like I don't want to say political, but it does have
It is.
yeah like
It is.
a geographic
It is.
importance and a
Yeah.
political importance
Yeah, it
of
is.
and a cultural importance.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. If you had your own cooking show,
Oh.
right, the Gordon Ramsay Hell's Kitchen, right, la cocina de carajo, what kind of host would you be? Right. I mean, all your pictures, you look super nice. By the way, I don't mean nice like in that way. I mean, like you look like you're a good guy.
man.
You look like a good
Thanks,
guy.
man.
Like you look like
Thanks.
if someone like no.
But in my classes, I'm really like particular about like setting up, like how they set up, and like why are you cutting those tomatoes that way. Don't I'm not making guacamole. Cut that avocado right. I'm gonna show you once. If you're not listening, then I'm not gonna repeat myself.
Ooh. So you're like a Gordon Ramsay-ish.
Not necessarily, but I feel like what I have to
This
say
chicken
important,
is
man.
so raw. It's dancing merengue right now.
I just feel like what
Come
I
here,
have to say is
you.
important,
Come here,
man.
you.
But
So you'd be stern, I think, on the show.
yeah, for sure.
I can see you on the show,
for
man.
sure.
You gotta be.
Thanks.
What would be a good show idea?
What's that?
To do a show where you get like a cook, a young cook, right, a chef, and who has like this love and affinity for their culture and their climate and like everything about their that cultural identity. One each country, and just pit them all against each other, and each one has a story. You know what I mean? And each has like maybe one of the challenges is they have to like do some research on it or like there's a research project involved.
Yo,
Yeah, I think
you got something there, man.
there's never a cultural twist.
No, never.
There's always just basically pit everybody against everybody. Put kids in a room and have them battle it out. Put couples in a room. Have celebrities in a room. Have them cook stuff. Have some grillers.
Yeah. But unfortunately, like that's where we're at, There's
What's the
nothing really
entertainment
profound.
value?
Yeah.
So if not cooking, then what for you?
Music.
Music.
Yeah.
I love how fast you were with that music. I want to shake my ass.
Drinking rum.
Drinking and music.
There was one of the big things that like we did as Booyah. So check this
Thank
out.
you.
One of the things that we did was we did an event called Roots and Rum, where we brought great rum, we did food, and we did music. So that the story behind that is because we're doing research and we find that in these old bombas there was always rum and music,
Love it.
and so we did that.
And for those of you guys who don't know, can you explain bomba? As easily as you can for those of you guys
Easily as I
who are
can,
not
alright.
from Puerto Rico.
Bomba is the most African diaspora, most African genre, surviving genre in Puerto Rico. Probably documented in the 1790s. So it's been around for a very, very long time. And so barrel drums, dancing, singing, and so it's very very raw
Mm-hmm.
music. The way we play it, we like to play it real aggressive,
Yeah.
and that's what we do, man.
I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, and I'm in a band myself, obviously. And for those guys who don't know, I'm in a band. So you guys, now you know. There's about 10 of us. No, 7 of us, sorry. There's about 7 of us in the room, and we're all talking about whose position in the band is more important.
Ooh.
Right? So some people say, not necessarily personally,
Yeah.
we mean more so generally.
Yeah.
No, you need guitar or rhythm in the song.
It wouldn't be the
So here, I'm getting to that. So the guitarist says, well, hey, listen, I got the guitar.
Right.
And it's not going to sound like anything if I'm not playing. So the bass player says, no.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need me because I'm the one who everybody builds their music on top of. You know?
True.
So then I said it to him. I said, nah, that's not true because you could just take an acoustic track and get a guitarist to play. We don't need a bass player at all. Just get a guitarist to play and he'll just, play his song. So then, of course, the percussionists came in, our drummer, our conguero, our bongocero, and they're like, no, well, you need a beat. You need that rhythm to kind of keep it in time. I know, but there's many songs that don't have drums or percussion. So then, of course, I'm the vocalist, and I said, I mean, without singing, you don't have anything really. No, there's a lot of instrumental tracks out there. So we didn't know what it was. So then we went back to it being the melody. Piano and guitar. We need piano and guitar for there can be some type of rhythmic exchange, right? And the
Are you
only
trying to
thing
kick people out of the group. Is that what you're doing?
so no, we were it was just a good conversation, and then it came up. They said so when we said there's no genre of music there's no genre of music that does not include a melody. There's none. And then we all said bomba does. Bomba is one of the only few that is literally just percussion.
Well, there's a melody in the song.
Well, in the song, in the vocals,
Yeah.
in the vocals, I can imagine that.
Yeah, and then there's drum language as well.
Yeah.
With the lead drum.
Right.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah, man.
That's interesting that you know so much about both. That they kind of go hand in hand, like music.
do.
I mean, think about every time you've heard music, it usually is food involved somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're listening to music, there's food involved. You're going to work, you're listening to music, you're getting breakfast. You're at a party, you're at the club, you want to get tacos afterwards, you want to get some food afterwards.
It's part of our creative art. It's the way that we create. I create, you create, we create.
Interesting. Creative art. Culinary arts, right? That makes
man.
sense. All right, so this is the part of the interview that I like to call Chef Tips from Urban Pilon, Cooking 101,
Uh-oh.
Dumb Cooking Questions for Men. All right, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for men. It could be for anybody who
man.
doesn't know their way around a stove. And I think I just probably had a list of questions from my cooking experiences throughout this entire week. And I just try to generalize them for everybody and make sure, try to get at least one other person out there to feel it. Dumb cooking questions. Number 1, chicken. Dry rub or marinade? Which one would you prefer? Which one do you think really resonates? Or both?
Man, both, definitely.
It really just depends, right?
Yeah, it depends.
Depends
You
on the
gotta
mood.
fry it.
I'm hungry now.
But I will say that along every step, everything should be seasoned. There's people that even season their oil.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is season everything. Season the chicken. If you're gonna use flour, season your flour. And that way you have seasons everywhere, man.
Good
You gotta
fried
have flavor,
chicken.
man.
Good fried
You gotta have
chicken,
flavor.
right?
Yeah.
Do you dump this entire thing in chicken? And chicken in oil?
Um,
Dump the chicken in the chicken.
you ever had pica pollo? Pica pollo is, it's small pieces from like the DR. It's got lemon and it's got a lot of garlic in it, and it's like double fried or it's got a double coating, so it's got like a lot of like that crispiness to it.
Yeah.
And little pieces, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So
when you're frying, what is a good tip while you're frying
good
chicken?
tip?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're frying, what you're gonna see is that there's a lot of moisture in chicken, right? You know that there's a lot of water in it. So when you're frying it, you're gonna see when you first start it, there's gonna be a lot of bubbles. What happens is as that moisture begins to release and come out of that chicken and it starts to cook, then it's going to subside. That's when you know your chicken is actually done, is when those bubbles subside and you have no more bubbles or close to no bubbles.
Damn, that is a great tip.
Yeah.
Beef, right?
Yeah.
Steaks, right?
Lot of
Oven.
time.
Huh?
A lot of time.
Yeah,
You gotta give
time.
meat. You gotta give time.
Okay.
You know.
So oven or cast iron skillet?
I do cast iron skillet all day for everything.
Really?
I love cast iron skillets, man. I can make a cake. You could make any. You could fry anything. You could do stir fries. You could do anything in a cast skillet, man. And it will give you a sear that nothing else can.
Ooh.
You know, you want to brown stuff. You use that cast iron. Yep.
Hard meat, hard carne, like hard steak. What are some ways to get that soft, man? I've been having this hard issues with hard steak.
It's just time, man. It's time. You have to give it time, and then also, you know.
And when you say time, you mean cooking time.
Cooking time. So also what you can do also is once you bring that to a boil, you want to cover it up and you allow those vapors to cook inside that pot, and then that's also gonna you lower the heat, and then you just let that go, and be patient with your food. Don't rush it, you know.
Adobo all the time or salt and pepper all the time, if you had to choose.
I do a lot of seasoning, so I do my own adobo rub.
Yeah. Oh, so you make your own.
Yeah.
And does it come out like a dust or like what is it like a
just
polvo,
like
right?
One, yeah, just like the one, but it's got more color. Because I put like some like reddenings in it that are natural. So you know that way I don't have to use like sazon de paquete.
Yeah.
You know the sazon
the red 40,
package,
red
right?
40, red 50. What was it?
Did I mess it up for you?
Red.
Did I mess up
I'm never eating sazon again. I'm never having sazon in my life. Pancakes. Am I adding milk?
Oh man, I don't do pancakes that much. I don't do pancakes that much.
He's a meat and plátano kind of guy.
Yeah.
All right. How do I This is a dumb question. This is so stupid, but maybe you might know. What's the proper way to make a smoothie? You should know this. You should know this.
Yeah. So man, don't make it overly sweet. You could actually put some green in there. Put some yogurt to give it some taste.
What is wrong with you? Always putting green in stuff, man.
Put a little bit of green.
I'm tired of this green stuff.
A banana will help freeze your fruit.
Okay.
That's also important.
Yeah.
And a banana and an apple can save it.
Okay.
You know?
So I'm using these fruits, all these greens, as you say.
Just a little bit.
Little bit of greens.
A little bit.
Am I using ice?
No, because you're gonna freeze your fruit.
Okay. So if I don't freeze, then use ice.
Then that way it doesn't water down.
Okay. Do I use water?
You don't have to. You can use almond milk, coconut milk. You could use water.
Okay.
You can.
Ice cream. Am I using ice cream?
Yeah, I like ice cream. No, not in the smoothie. But
if you guys are not, if you guys can see, it's just eyes lit up when I said ice cream.
Man.
What's the surefire way of cooking a good grilled cheese?
Is definitely using real cheese. Don't use like fake cheese. Americans are kind of known for using fake slices of over processed food.
Yeah.
And so use real cheese. Use a couple different types of cheese. Use real butter.
Real butter.
Yeah.
So no country crock.
If that's what you got, man, that's what you got, man. That's what I grew up on. But I mean, use what you got.
Okay.
If you can. Use
so
real
I'm gonna walk you through.
Yeah.
It's the worst part. I really don't even know how to make a good grilled cheese sandwich. All right. So you take take a little bit of butter, put it on the pan.
Yeah.
Right. Bread.
Do you have a panini press or
the Foreman grill? Foreman grill,
okay,
right?
yeah,
Let's say you had a Foreman grill.
Like
all right, so you butter up the grill.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and of course, if you can, add some seasoning, as you say, to your pan. You butter one side of the bread. Right. The face side down.
Sure.
The part that you're heating up is buttered on that side. Cheese on top.
Yeah. And you could do different types of cheese.
Right.
And then you could add texture also to your...
Yeah, crumbs or like...
You could use texture
breading.
to your
bacon.
To your sandwich, right? You could do bacon, sure.
Oh my God.
You can do, pickles. So you can do all kinds of stuff just to, add to your textures so that it's not just gooey. Yeah, gooey's good.
Right.
But, you want to give like a little bit of you want to add.
And then once that side's finished, you flip. and get the other side buttered up too. Same thing, right? All right, cool. I'm writing this stuff down. Forget all of y'all who are listening. This is for me.
Too, man. Why not some slices of maybe some jalapenos or something?
Yeah.
No, you don't like that?
I mean, it's a grilled cheese though. It's not a grilled jalapeno cheese.
Man, I'm just trying to be
some onions. I'm down with the onions.
All right, let's do that.
I'm down with the onions. Let's do
Don't be bored
that.
about it.
All right, tostones. Go. We need to hear this from a real player when it comes to tostones.
All right.
What's a good tostone? How do you make one?
How do I make good tostones?
Good tostones.
Man, so remember I was saying that.
By the way, you ain't shit as a cook. You are listening. You ain't shit as a cook unless you know how to make a proper tostone. A Puerto Rican cook, by the way. Let me just rephrase that. Go ahead.
All right, so you want to get green plantain. You want to get it nice, firm, and green. You don't want to get it kind of yellow because then it's going to be sweet. Because what you want is that crunch. So you get a nice, firm, green one, nice and starchy. You're going to cut off the tips. You're going to score it along where the ridges of that plátano. You're going to put it in hot water. You're going to peel it so you don't hurt yourself and cry. Right? And then you're going to pat it dry. Or you can also, as you're doing the other plátanos, you can sit it in maybe some seasoned water. Maybe some salt water, or maybe you could use your adobo and you could put it in that water. You slice it up, and so the way I slice it is at an angle. And so what happens is then the plátano is flatter as opposed to upright. So that way you don't have to use so much oil. So if you have it upright like this, you're going to need more oil to cover that plátano.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So if you have it like this, then it lays kind of low below the oil.
Yeah.
Right? So they say the healthiest oil right now is grapeseed oil, but you could use whatever oil you prefer. And so I usually one of the mistakes that we do at home a lot is that we put it in lukewarm oil. Don't put stuff in lukewarm oil, man. Get that sear, that like hot, that, remember that, I like that.
Yeah.
So get that nice. So what you want to do is you want to get a nice khaki-like color.
Khaki-like color.
Damn. All right, you get a little.
Can't get this nowhere else, y'all.
You take that out with the tongs, and then you smash it, and then you do it. You get it to the process to where all of them are at the same stage, where they're all flattened, and then you have that oil nice and hot. And then also one of the things that I forgot is you want to dry your plátanos before you put them in the oil.
Oh.
Because if you then put them in there wet, then it's going to cool down your oil and you're not going to get that crunch. So
you want to shock it, like you want to
sear
it
nice and dry.
Yeah.
And that way it fries well. And so then after that, then you put that plátano in. When you take it out and it's nice, when you see that ridge, the edges, they're nice and they're brown. Then you take it out and then you season it. And that, because it's hot and it has oil, that's when the season is going to absorb, the tostón is going to absorb that seasoning. And that's
what are you seasoning? What are you seasoning your?
Just salt.
Just
salt. And maybe garlic.
A little bit of salt.
Maybe
some ajo.
Maybe ajo,
like natural.
Some oil. Yeah, smash up in a pilon. And a little bit of olive oil, and then put that on there.
Oh my god!
Then you can't kiss anybody.
Grill marks. Why can't I get that on my food? What is wrong with me?
Time, man. We just need to be just patient with our food, man. Just leave it. Stop moving it. We move stuff too much. Like, trust yourself. Trust. And like if you're gonna do like a nice steak, then usually it's gonna be on high. You're gonna have it for like 3 minutes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take it, and it's going to be like at the 4 and the 11 on the clock. So it's going to be at the 6 and the 12. And
so reposition.
You reposition it. That's how you create those diamonds that you're probably looking for.
That's what
Another 3 minutes, flip it on the other side.
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
Can I really use beer or wine as marinades? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you use to make perfect eggs?
What do I use to make perfect eggs? Man, hot oil, a lid to keep those vapors inside.
Yeah.
Like a lid. And that's pretty much it, man. Nothing serious. When you're doing like a hard boiled egg, then you want to not shock the egg. So you want the egg to be in the like cold water, and then you let the temperature rise.
Yeah.
And with the egg, and then that's how it doesn't explode or anything like that. You don't shock the egg.
Sofrito on everything?
Nah.
Nah. I like that. Most people be like, yes.
No, sofrito. I mean, in my class we do about 4 different variations of sofrito.
Yeah.
And so like your boy Fernando, he knows about 4 different variations.
Shout out to Fluff.
Now he can cook for you, man. But anyways, yeah. So, but there's certain things that it doesn't need it.
Yeah. What is sofrito good with? Top couple things.
Beans especially. Yeah. Like if you're doing beans and you don't have Puerto Rican beans and you're not doing it with sofrito, then you're not doing it.
And you're just making it old Western movies, right? With the beans.
Stop it.
Barbecue. What are the quick steps? Quick steps for a perfect burger.
The perfect burger?
Quick steps for a perfect burger.
Oh man, don't flatten it.
Don't smash it.
To get that grease out. Let that oil stay in there and sit in there, and you need some fat. You need some fat in there, and then I also like to cover it also to like keep those vapors in there, keep that humidity. If you don't, then it's gonna dry out, and that's not what you want.
Yeah. So you have Urban Pilon, which is doing fantastic. It's obviously the reason why you're here today, and you really helped us out, get to know a little bit more about you and about the brand itself. But you also had some other ventures that I am so excited about. Tell me about the sweater you're wearing, man. Tell me about that sweater, please.
This is the new release. It's says adobo on it. And It's got a pilon. It's got the 3-stripe pilon on it.
3-stripe pilon. I love that,
yeah.
man.
So that's basically it. And I gave you a little gift today.
Oh yes, I have it, man. Listen. This is amazing. For those of you guys who don't know, I did this song back in the day called I Love Adobo. And if that's not perfect for my ass, I don't know what is. You guys got to get that. Where can they find stuff? Where can they find stuff like this?
Look me up on Urban Pilon. And, man, we'll hook it up for you. We'll hook it up.
Definitely. Oh, you guys hear my dog already. They're getting people, just attacking people outside. For those of you guys who are wondering exactly where to find you, where can they find you on Facebook, on Instagram, anything like that?
Urban Pilon. Urban Pilon on Facebook, urbanpilon.com, Urban Pilon at Gmail. I mean, it's Urban Pilon all day. You could just Google Urban Pilon, you'll find me.
How often are you doing classes?
Every month.
Every month.
2 or 3 at the same time.
Okay. So it's different classes, like
schools too,
okay, great for couples too.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
They usually sell out really fast, so you gotta once you see that post, then you gotta jump on it. If you don't jump on it, you left out.
Oh, okay. Also, Bomba con Bulla, 10 years.
Yes.
The CD is out.
Amazing.
The cassette is out.
So proud of my tribe, man.
Man, I love what you guys are doing, man. I love everything about what you're doing here. You brought some amazing visuals. Please briefly describe exactly what we have here. Besides the bisabuelas, Pilon.
Yeah, so this is Cocina Criolla. Everybody probably has this. This is the 1950s cookbook that a lot of people have. This is El Cocinero, which is Puerto Rico's oldest cookbook, a collection of recipes from 1859 in Puerto Rico. I did an event based solely on these recipes one time. And then this is Eating Puerto Rico. This is a great book on history, and I've learned so much about my food history because of this book. So, man, all of these things are to share. A lot of people will tell me, yo, that's good, man, you shouldn't share that. But this is not what this is about, you know?
Yeah.
I want to share. I want us to cook. I want to help people cook. I want people to be healthy. You know, we go through a lot of issues in our community, and I want to help fight that. I'm serious about it.
Yeah. It sounds like I hear it in your voice, and I hear it. And everything you say it calls back to it.
Yeah.
It calls back to it. So definitely a brother with purpose. I love that, man. We need more people like you here. So, guys, without any further ado, Urban Pilon is in the building, was in the building. Lyon and the Truth every single Monday live. And on Fridays, you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you find your streaming podcasts. We're going to put some links down so they can go and find you on our website at Lyon and the Truth. LionTruth.com. That's Lion with the Y. And don't forget to download, everybody, and like. Go on YouTube, follow. Don't forget to smash that bell button. Oh, God. Everybody says that now. Smash that bell button. No, don't smash it. You might break something. Just touch it. Touch the bell button on notifications on the YouTube channel so you can follow us for next week's episode number 4. Thank you so much, man, for coming out here. And thanks for the shirt, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Till next time, mi gente. Bye.